Hey Harmonizers, welcome to our next day in Vermont, and what we're going to be focusing on here is lunging circles. I'm going to point out a really important thing that is what's causing people to struggle with their lunging circles, as well as show you what comes next after you learn the Calm Connection exercises. So this is a little look at inside the arena. Everybody came out to learn the rest of their Calm Connection exercises. Melina was studying away there on the sofa there. And then we got into learning how to send our horses out on the circle and bring our horses back in. And one of the super important things that I want you guys to become aware of is if you're moving forwards or backwards on your circle. So we use these pylons to mark the center of their circle. You can see here this horse is getting a little too close in the beginning, and so part of that is just having to get the correct rhythm to shoo the horse out away from you and to have kind of a nice flowy rhythm to get that horse out onto that circle. But notice what we're focusing here is being forwards, and then when you want your horse to come to you, making sure that you back your feet up. And this is going to be something that if you're consistent with, you're going to be able to consistently have your horse go out away from you and then be able to invite your horse into your space to come back to you, which can help for your liberty or just in general having that connection. So I want you to notice with the people here focusing on walking forward around their object, and then when they're ready to invite their horse back into them, then they're going to switch to walking backwards and having their body come back. That one with the pinto there, she could have stepped back just a little bit more, but overall changed her body language to help her horse understand what she was supposed to do there. And again, looking at the one with the little bay here. So she's not taking a lot of steps, which is fine, but her steps are forward. And so her body's projecting forward energy, which is what we want to do. They're also making sure that they stay behind their horse's drive line, which is really important, that our drive line stays behind our horse's drive line. And if you have no idea what I mean by drive lines, then I definitely recommend checking out the Passive Leadership mini course, which goes over drive lines and quadrants. And here doing a little bit of a back stay to just, if the horse gets too close into your space, being able to move your horse out of your space without actually backing your own feet or moving your own feet, which just helps to give some clarity to the horse and also help establish that passive leadership as well. So here's another one, asking her horse to go out on the circle, starting by sending that horse's shoulder away. Once the horse kind of gets going, you can see she's walking around her cone. So she's walking forwards around her cone. And then when she's ready to invite the horse in, I want you to notice how she's going to switch to walking backwards around her cone. So her body is only moving forwards, and then when she's ready, she goes backwards around the cone, and that invites the horse to come to you. So we want to be really clear with our body language. Are we in a sending forward, or what's called a driving position, driving or sending? Or are you in a drawing position, which means you're backing up and you're inviting that horse to you? Having that clarity is going to be so important for the horse to make sure that they understand what it is that we're doing. And then it was time for Sprinkles to come along. So this is Sprinkles, the inflated unicorn, who is actually just Melissa inside the unicorn. Evelyn thought it was super fantastic to meet Sprinkles and thought it was very exciting to have this day of the clinic here. So this was a lot of fun. So this is the distraction test. And we always do, whatever we can for the distraction test, work with the things that are at the place we're at. So it was super cool that we had this inflatable unicorn costume to wear. And essentially the goal of the session is to use the Calm Connection exercises that everybody had been learning for the first 2 days and keep your horse's attention and not allow your horse to stare at Sprinkles or gawk at Sprinkles, but to stay calm and focused on their human as if like Sprinkles isn't even there. So Sprinkles comes in the ring. You can see Evelyn's like super stoked and excited. And then Sprinkles starts walking around the ring. And it's super important that when we go to do the distraction test, that the people in the ring kind of know the pattern that the distraction is going. And that's important because the goal is to keep your horse focused on you. The goal is not, I repeat, the goal is not to see how close your horse can get to Sprinkles. So it doesn't matter if you're 10 feet away or 50 feet away. as long as you're keeping your horse's focus on you. So that means that if you know the direction that Sprinkles is heading, then that just helps you be prepared for your horse, and that you can move out of the way, get further away, so that if your horse is starting to get upset, like here, this little horse is starting to get a little bit upset. So then a good thing to do would be to start to move that horse further away, because you know where Sprinkles is going. So rather than saying, hey, stay here looking at that Sprinkles, you can go further away. Melina got to meet Sprinkles as well, which she was not scared of Sprinkles. She wasn't entirely sure that she wanted to be held by Sprinkles, but she didn't cry or scream or anything like that, and even started to wave to Sprinkles, which I thought was pretty cute and adorable. And when we're doing these distraction tests, we start with kind of easy, simple, not too big of movements, and then eventually get to the point where Sprinkles started dancing around and doing some bigger movements. There you can see Melina doing a little bit of waving. So here's a different perspective after she'd been going around. Now she's really dancing, really raising the level of difficulty, lots of bobbling, and you can see the horse is getting a little bit of upset. But the key here is that the humans know how to get their horse focused and back to them, and raising the level of distraction and difficulty when you can kind of know what's happening and be able to manage it and settle your horse back down. That's a really key point, is where we can kind of control what's scary and find relaxation with your horse. So this horse, the little bay here, upset about the super dancing because she's really bobbling and kind of makes this like popping noise too. It's really kind of scary. Of course, it doesn't help that Evelyn's also running around. And the human knowing what exercises to do and how to position herself and how to direct her horse. And now you can see her horse is walking so much more relaxed and is kind of going, oh, okay, like, yep, I know this pattern. I know this calm connection exercise, that is able to just be like, okay, whatever. And that's when we really start to build that confidence and connection with our horse, is when we have things that are a little bit scary and then they realize that life is okay. So Sprinkles went away and we had a second group come in, practice their exercises again. And then Sprinkles came back in and got to do her thing again. And Evelyn thought that was super fun and exciting as well. So it's kind of fun to have these fun moments. Here's just kind of a different perspective. This is with the second group that was in. We've got Sprinkles dancing around, doing her different moves, and everybody's doing their best to keep their horse's focus on them. And now that they have a better understanding of how to use their energy, how to body position, all of those things, they're using all of that knowledge to keep their horse with them and to keep the whole situation safe and manageable. So everything went pretty well. We saw a little bit of worry pop up in horses, which is a good thing as long as we're not blowing horses up and making them super terrified. If we see the horses get a little bit worried, then what happens is the humans get to help the horse realize that everything's okay. And that's when the magic really happens of the horse building that connection with you, because they go, oh, I remember I got a little bit worried and you helped me through it. And that builds a much deeper connection and building confidence than if everything's okay all the time. You don't get the same level of building confidence. A little moment of getting a little snapshot with my kiddos. I always do it as a video because getting both kids to kind of look at the camera is always a little tricky. Melina found the day very tiring and completely passed out before lunch. I want to hear, what was your favorite part?